Welcome to the module on welfare schemes and programs of Government of India. The objective of the module is to discuss various welfare schemes and programs of Government of India for various target groups which are implemented through different government departments. In this module, the learner would get a basic understanding about various centrally sponsored schemes for the different target groups and sectors. The first, schemes for the rural development, schemes for tribal development, schemes for care and protection of the children, schemes for the empowerment of women and girls, schemes for persons with disabilities, schemes for youth, and finally, the national social assistance schemes. Now, we will be discussing the welfare measures for the citizens based on the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India in the Article 38 mentions the duty of the state is to secure a social order for the promotion of the welfare of the people by striving minimize inequalities in income and social status. As a welfare state, the greater concern towards the well-being of its citizens, Government of India offers certain welfare schemes to the marginalized sections of the society. The schemes which are implementing by Government of India are known as centrally sponsored schemes. Centrally sponsored schemes are classified into three categories, namely first flagship schemes, second subsectoral schemes, and finally umbrella schemes. Flagship scheme. A flagship scheme is a Government of India scheme which is declared by the Union Cabinet. Example of a flagship program is Integrated Child Development Scheme or the ICDS of the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Subsectoral scheme. A subsectoral scheme should be a scheme which is relating to the major departments that have several subsectors. Each subsector could have a core element which is fully supports the requirements of different states. Example of a subsectoral scheme is Integrated Loco Sanitation Scheme of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty. Now, we will coming to the next scheme, that is umbrella scheme. Umbrella schemes are designed to address the sectoral gaps to help improve effectiveness of plan expenditure. Example of an umbrella scheme is National Program for Youth and Adolescent Development of the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports of the Government of India. Now, we will be discussing on the various schemes for the rural development in India. The Ministry of Rural Development implements various schemes for the enhancement of the rural development sector. Few schemes are Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarashkar Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission, otherwise Ajivika scheme, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, and Indira Gandhi Awas Yojana. First, SGSY scheme. The SGSY scheme was launched by the Government of India in the year 1999 by reshuffling Integrated Rural Development Program. The objective of the SGSY scheme is to bring the assisted poor families above the poverty line by providing them income generating assets to start entrepreneurship programs with the support of bank credit facility and government subsidy. 60% of the beneficiaries of these schemes are women and 50% consist of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Second scheme is National Rural Livelihood Mission, otherwise NRLM scheme. In this mission, Government of India has introduced a scheme of Ajivika for the skill enhancement of the rural community. The focus of the NRLM is to build and sustain institutions of the poor for collective action at various levels. The mission of the NRLM is to reduce poverty through building strong grassroots institutions for the poor. NRLM enables the poor households to access gainful self-employment and skilled wage employment opportunities. Next scheme is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. The National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme was started by the Government of India based on National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005. The objective of this act is to enhance livelihood security in rural areas by providing at least 100 days of guaranteed wage employment in a financial year to every household whose adult members volunteer to do unskilled manual work. Next scheme is Indira Gandhi Awas Yojana. Indira Awas Yojana is a Government of India scheme to provide housing for the rural poor. It is a major flagship program of the Rural Development Ministry to construct houses for BPL population in the villages. Indira Awas Yojana provides financial assistance to the construction of the houses. Following are the eligible target groups of this scheme. First, people belongs to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, free bonded laborers, minorities and non-SC rural households in the BPL category, widows and next of kin of the defense personnel, paramilitary forces killed in action, and finally ex-servicemen and retired persons of the paramilitary forces residing in rural areas. Next scheme is Scheme for Tribal Development. So, scheme for the Tribal Development Ministry, there are two main schemes. The first scheme is Scheme of Development of the Primitive Tribal Groups, and second scheme is Scheme for the Construction of the Hostels for Girls and Boys. First scheme, Scheme of Development of the Primitive Tribal Groups. The objective of the scheme of the development of the primitive tribal groups is the all-round development of the primitive tribal groups. The scheme is very flexible and covers housing, infrastructure development, education, health, land distribution and development. It also covers agricultural development, cattle development, social security and insurance. Next scheme is Girls and Boys Hostel for Scheduled Tribes. Girls and Boys Hostel for the Scheduled Tribes scheme is an initiative of the Government of India for supporting the higher education of the scheduled tribes. The aim of the scheme is to provide residential facilities to the tribal girls and boys in pursuit of education. The next scheme is Scheme for the Development and Welfare of Children. Under this, there are two main schemes which are implemented by the Government of India. The first scheme is Integrated Child Development Services and second is Integrated Child Protection Scheme. First, Integrated Child Development Scheme. The Integrated Child Development Services is a major program implemented by the Ministry of Women and Child Development since 1975. This program is India's primary response to the nutritional and developmental needs of children below the age of 6, pregnant women and nursing mothers. The second scheme is Integrated Child Protection Scheme or ICPS scheme. The aim of the scheme is to bring all the child protection scheme under one umbrella. The scheme focuses on strengthening the child protection at family and community levels. The primary feature of the scheme is there is a government and civil society partnership in child care services. Next is schemes for women and girls. There are four major schemes for women and girls. The first scheme is Scheme for Short Stay Homes for Women and Girls, Rashtriya Mahila Ghosh Scheme, Janani Suraksha Yojana Scheme and Rajiv Gandhi Scheme for the empowerment of the adolescent girls. First scheme, Short Stay Home for Women and Girls. The objective of the program is to protect and rehabilitate women and girls who are in social and moral danger due to the breakage of the families, mental stress, social exclusion or exploitation. This scheme is sponsored by the Central Social Welfare Board. The second scheme is Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. It is a national level scheme to meet microcredit needs of the poor and the asset level less women in the informal sector. It is also known as National Credit Fund for Women. RMK scheme mainly channelizes its support through voluntary organizations, women development corporations, cooperative societies, state government agencies, self-help groups and non-profit making companies who are registered under section 25 of the Companies Act. Next is Janani Suraksha Yojana. Janani Suraksha Yojana is an intervention program under the National Rural Health Mission or NRHM mission. The objective is to reducing maternal and neonatal mortality by promoting institutional delivery among poor pregnant women. As the provisions in the scheme, one-time cash incentive is given to the pregnant women for institutional and home births through skilled assistance. The next scheme is Rajiv Gandhi scheme for the empowerment of the adolescent girls, or Sabala scheme. This scheme is for the empowerment of the adolescent girls. The focus of the scheme is the improvement of the nutritional and health status of out of school girls. Components of the scheme consist of upgrading various skills, home skills, life skills, vocational skills of the adolescent girl. It also has a component of awareness creation among the adolescent girls about health, hygiene, nutrition, adolescent reproductive and sexual health, family and child care. Now, we will look into the category of the schemes for the people with disabilities. There are different schemes like Deen Dayal Disabled Rehabilitation Scheme, National Handicapped Finance and Development Corporation Concession Credit Scheme, National Fund Scholarship Scheme, Assistance to Disabled Persons for Purchase, Fitting of Aids and Appliances Scheme. The first is Deen Dayal Disabled Rehabilitation Scheme. The focus of the Deen Dayal Disabled Rehabilitation Scheme is to create an enabling environment to ensure equal opportunities, justice, social justice and empowerment of the persons with disabilities. This scheme provides financial assistance to the voluntary organizations for various projects for quality education. The project also provides vocational education and rehabilitation of the persons with disabilities. The next scheme is National Handicapped Finance Development Corporation Concessional Credit Scheme. As a government owned corporation, NHFDC provides loan facilities to the persons with disabilities. The objective of the scheme is to provide concessional loans to persons with disabilities to take up income generating activities through self-employment. The next scheme for the persons with disabilities is National Fund Scholarship Scheme. Under this scheme, every year 500 national scholarships are given to eligible disabled students for pursuing higher academic, professional and technical education. Financial assistance is given for computer with editing software for blind and deaf graduates and postgraduates who have joined professional courses. Financial support is also provided for the students with cerebral palsy for assessing support software. Next, we will look into the schemes for youth. There are three main schemes and programs for the youth in India. First, Nehru Yuva Kendra Sanketan Scheme, National Service Scheme, National Program for Youth and Adolescent Development. Nehru Yuva Kendra Sanketam. Nehru Yuva Kendra Sanketam is an autonomous body working in the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. This program is designed for capacity building of non-formal youth in India. The strength of the Nehru Yuva Kendra Sanketam scheme is its vast network of youth clubs at grassroots level. The objective of the program is to evolve the rural youth in nation building process of India. Scheme also recognizes voluntary services of the youth clubs, Mahila Mandals for community development. The next scheme is National Service Scheme. National Service Scheme is popularly known as NSS. It is a flagship program of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports of Government of India. The objective of the scheme is to enhance the personality of the students who are enrolled as NSS volunteers in schools and colleges through community experience. The activities of the National Service Scheme can be classified into two: regular activities and special camping program. The scheme is implemented through academic institutions throughout India. The next program for the youth is National Program for Youth and Adolescent Development. The objective of the project is to engage and channelize the energy of the youth in a positive manner for nation building process of India. The primary target group of the scheme is adolescents and youth in India. The components of the project are youth leadership, personality development, promotion of national integration, promotion of adventure, development, empowerment of adolescents, and technical and resource development. And finally, we look into the National Social Assistance Schemes. National Social Assistance Scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme launched in the year 1995 by Government of India. The target group of National Social Assistance Program consists of elderly, persons with sickness and unemployment, etc. Presently, National Social Assistance Program comprises of 5 schemes. These schemes are Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme, Indira Gandhi National Widow Pension Scheme, Indira Gandhi National Disability Pension Scheme, National Family Benefit Scheme, and Annapurna Scheme. Summing up of the module, in this session we had discussed about welfare schemes and programs of Government of India which are implemented for the well-being of the people of this country. The centrally sponsored schemes are classified into 3 categories, namely flagship schemes, subsectoral schemes, and umbrella schemes. We had also discussed about various schemes for rural development, tribal development, development and welfare of the children, women and girls empowerment schemes, schemes for the persons with disabilities, schemes for youth, and National Social Assistance Scheme. From this module, you have got a basic picture of various welfare programs and schemes for different sections and sectors. Thank you for attending this section.